welcome to The Stack, Magic the Gathering Edition. I'm Amy, or Amazonian, and this week I'm joined by Magic content creator and special guest, HeadologyMagic. How's it going?
Hi, it's going well. How are you?
I am doing great. You know, it's nice and toasty. It's summertime, and we actually live pretty close to each other, so this is going to be a local show. So we're here to play a game called The Stack. The rules are simple. I'm going to present you with a series of magic-related statements. You will decide if these statements resolve, meaning you agree with them, or fizzle, meaning you don't agree with them. Are you ready to play?
I am as ready as possible.
Okay, let's go. 40 cards is a minimum, and going over 40 cards is perfectly fine in a draft.
Oh, I'm going to get so much flack on either side for this one. Okay, I am going to say that this resolves.
Ooh.
Living dangerously. Draft, mathematically, yes, you want 40 cards. You want to play the minimum because you want the greatest chance of hitting your bombs or your best cards. Whatever you've got that's good, you want to give yourself the best chance at getting it. However, there are certain decks that benefit from going over 40 cards, including self-milk decks, including decks that generate value from the graveyard and from making sure that you get value from different mechanics that involve making sure that your opponent doesn't mill you out as well, right? So self-mill wants more, and when your opponent is milling you, you want more. You want to make sure that you can, in fact, side into greater. So that gives you a greater chance of not dying to your library disappearing entirely before you are able to kill your opponent. So there are, in fact, decks that actually really do benefit from going over 40 cards, in my opinion.
Nice, very well put. You know, we've all been there where our deck is just a little too good at drawing cards, and so we add a couple extra in to make sure that we don't mill ourselves out. Magic cards should only feature Magic settings. I just want to give a little bit of clarification. I'm talking about things like Warhammer, Dungeons and Dragons, Lord of the Rings. These are all settings that aren't Magic settings.
Okay, so again, you're really good at picking the ones that are going to get me roasted. Okay, so Magic has always taken from this is going to be a qualified resolve fizzle. Like it's kind of a mix of both. Magic has always been a mix of different mythologies and so on and so forth. And what it does is it takes those mythologies and it makes them its own. For example, Heliod, right? And the Greek gods that it was presenting. You know, you could have Artemis as the green one, Nylea, right? But it doesn't use their names, and it creates different abilities that fit their style and, you know, create flavor within the Magic universe. It's understood that those things, right? You know, we've been to all sorts of different cultures. We've incorporated all sorts of mythologies and personalities from those cultures. Hopefully it's not appropriation and it's just making people learn about it because it's related. We haven't taken it and stolen it, right? We haven't inhabited it, right? As it is, we've taken it and changed it and altered it and maybe created interest in the original culture by doing so. And so I think it's really cool that that's what Magic does, which is why I'm not as much a fan of, you know, the pure, right? Like, for example, the Secret Lair that had Walking Dead or the Secret Lair that had Stranger Things. I like seeing Magic do what it does within those contexts, but still keeping a Magic flavor to it and a Magic idea to it, and not sort of being those how do I want to say it? Worlds, right? I want the Magic version of that. I don't necessarily want that.
So it sounds like this is a resolves, but you gotta work. You gotta put the work to make things fit the Magic setting.
Yeah, exactly.
Very level-headed. Phantom drafts should always be available in Magic the Gathering Arena, and they should be close to free or free to enter. For people who don't know what a phantom draft is a draft where you don't keep the cards. So you get to play and have the experience of a draft, but you don't buy the packs.
This absolutely resolves 1,000%. I am 100% behind this. This is 100 and 1,000, you know, whichever.
There's a lot of numbers. Yeah, you very agree with it.
I don't do math. I do magic. Magic doesn't involve any math, right?
No, never.
Never. No math. Okay. Anyway, so I back this. I absolutely think this is the best way to get new players into Arena. And having fun and drafting, in my opinion, obviously I'm a little bit biased, is the most fun format that you can possibly play on Arena. Love Commander outside and in paper, and I like draft in paper, but draft on Arena is phenomenal. It's a wonderful way to start, learning the cards, learning the interactions, and I think a Phantom draft setting would be the perfect way to really encourage new players to keep going. It doesn't cost them anything when they lose, right? Basically, I mean, very little when they lose, and so they would be absolutely much more inclined to stay with this game, even if it becomes a little bit discouraging with the winning at the beginning, right? With the not winning, so to speak, right? And so I really think that this is definitely something that Arena should implement right ASAP. It's amazing to me that they haven't, because it's such a good way for people to enter Magic the Gathering.
I would love to see it myself. That's why I put it on the script.
You rock.
So the next one is hard to beat cards like Averbrook Caretaker or Oko Thief of Crowns are good for a limited. A lot of people will call these bombs and refer to formats with them as Prince formats.
Fizzles. Hard to beat cards like that. And I don't mean hard to beat. Hard to beat doesn't do these cards justice. These cards are, put this card on the field. If you haven't already, aren't so far ahead that you're literally killing me this next turn, I win the game. Averbrook Caretaker, Oko Thief of Crowns, Hullbreaker Horror, Dreadfeast Demon, Lazelle, Coven, right? Hourglass Coven.
These are hard cards to beat and limited, if not impossible to beat.
These are what are known as S-tier bombs. They're even better than many of the past, S-tier bombs, in that they literally are so impossible to interact with, that they just, and they're so powerful beyond that it negates all previous gameplay. The relevance of all previous gameplay, where players are jockeying for position, they're trying to find incremental advantage, and then somebody lays down this card and you're like, the entire rest of the game was negated. Cool. Awesome. I lose. So
it feels like even if the other player played well, built a good deck, it didn't even matter.
It didn't matter at all, and so I hate those cards. I don't like the idea that they're going to keep printing that type of thing in limited, right?
And as the creep of the power goes up and up and up and up, the bombs get scarier.
Not good for limited. Now, I have heard people say that this is good for newer players, where at least they can win some games if they just play one of these. I don't think that helps the game. They don't learn anything from doing that. They don't enjoy themselves necessarily doing that, because it's not about, interesting ways to play those cards, right? Those cards don't have anything to them that makes them intricate or difficult to play, or they just put it down on the field and you're done. Like, it's not... There's no interesting decisions to be made once you play those cards. If those cards were difficult to play well, sure. But those are different types of bombs. And they do have good bombs like that. I like bombs where, you still have to manage the gameplay such that you make the most effective use of that bomb. But these aren't those.
Limited formats should have bans. We don't need to talk about how it would be implemented. If you take this card, you can't put it in your deck, or if you play this card unlimited, it gets changed using, say, Arena has this Alchemy version. Doesn't matter how it's implemented, but limited formats should have bans.
I absolutely agree. I think that once a card just literally shows itself to be something like those S-tier bombs that I was talking about, the recent ones where they just read I win the game, that's not helping anybody enjoy a game of Magic. That's a feel bad. Absolutely. I think even for the people who are new in playing them, they're just sort of like, oh, okay, I play that card. I don't learn anything about new, and I don't feel good about myself for, finding a cool line or figuring out what to do, right? It's just that. So I absolutely think that limited should have bans. I think that that's just a really cool thing that we could do. I think it has to be reserved for, obviously, cards of this level where they just end the game,
Cards where they admit mistake of, like, this card was too good. Because we've seen Wizards of the Coast be like, oops before. Alchemy Horizons Baldur's Gate is a good draft format.
For all the reasons above, that it actually has many S tier bombs, and the S tier bombs that we're talking about now, not the older S tier bombs, but the ones that win the game. I hate it. I'm sorry, I hate it. I've played Lizelle. I've been covened literally 22 times now, and I hate it.
Like you kept count.
Yeah. Oh, I did actually. Yes, I did keep count. It was so bad. I've had it twice, and I've been hit by it 22 times. Ooh. So I imagine that for people who open the bombs every single time, they're gonna love the format. But for me, less so. I absolutely think Baldur's Gate is a horrific draft format. If you take out those bombs, though, I love the mechanics. I love the interactions. I think it's a fantastic set if you take out those bombs. And going back to that limited ban thing, yeah, let's ban Lizelle, let's ban Hourglass Coven, let's ban, there's a few others that I would ban too, but I won't go into that now. But yeah.
It's an alchemy set, it's a live set. Hey, Wizards of the Coast, you can adjust those cards a little bit to make them a little less strong. This is the perfect spot.
Tweak. Dial it down from 11, okay? I know it goes to 11, but dial it down from there.
Kamigawa Neon Dynasty is the best drafting set ever released.
This is going to fizzle, however. I love Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. I think it is among the best drafting sets ever released. I loved Khans of Tarkir. I thought that one was beautifully balanced across the colors. I thought that the 3-color mechanic was really strong in that. Unlike New Capenna, where basically playing 2 colors in that splash was what you were doing, Khans really encouraged you to run those 3 colors, really made it fun, had lovely cards that were good late and early game, like the morphs because of morph, and I just adored it. I thought it was so much fun. And it didn't have ridiculous bombs, although it did have some. And Kamigawa, I think, is also genius in that way. It's so good. I just have a slight edge preference for Khans.
Draft is the hardest and most skill testing format of Magic the Gathering.
Okay, I'm biased.
Does it resolve?
No, but don't hate me. I'm biased. I'm not impartial. I am not objective.
No, you're just good at the game in the best way.
So here's the thing. Constructed does take skill. It's skill that I don't necessarily have that much anymore. I used to play a lot more Constructed than I do now. However, I do love the fact that not only does draft take, you have to read signals for what's passed. You have to know the set. You have to figure out what's strong, what's weaker. You have to look at different synergies and different mechanics that you can make work together, and you have to then build your deck out of the best cards you have, and then you have to play and read your opponent and read the meta and within the course of this set or the block. And I think that, or the block, it used to be the block, the set now. And I think that Constructed has, similar skills and is equally skilled, probably. I'm a drafter, so I'm going to say me.
Formats should completely and frequently redo their ban lists. As an example, don't just say unban Splinterton, say ban everything. We're going to start from scratch and we're just going to, put a couple bans where we need them.
All right, that one's too extreme for me. That's a fizzle. I do have a qualified thing. I do believe that Wizards should aggressively review ban lists for Eternal formats like Modern and Legacy and Vintage. For Modern in particular, I absolutely think that things like the fast mana like Chrome Mox, Mox Opal, Spirit Guide, and Rite of Flame and Summer Bloom should remain banned. You don't want Legacy 2.0, which it's going that direction anyway with power creep, but I don't think those should be taken off the ban list. I don't think things that were slowing down the game, like Sensei's Top or Second Sunrise for eggs, would be good to bring back. That seems really bad. You don't want to see, Uro and Oko back again because they were just so dominant, and they're still going to be so dominant for a very long time. And Phyrexian mana cards stay banned. However, I do think that aggressively reevaluating cards like Splinter Twin or Pod, I think those could be unbanned. I think Branch from Below or Artifact Lands or even Deathrite Shaman, that's actually one of the easier ones I think to unban right now. I think those things are definitely worth aggressively looking at and doing that with every new standard, basically.
Maybe there's a rotation schedule for it.
Exactly.
So they take a look at it.
Yeah, they could take a look at it. And I think that will freshen up things, because things that looked too powerful for a while will not be. I mean, Mind Sculptor was unbanned and all sorts of things were unbanned. And so I think Wizards is doing a decent job of that, but I think it could be done a little bit more frequently. And I'm also a draft player and a limited player almost entirely. So I'm super happy with anything that, with them reviewing it quite frequently and watching the chaos that ensues from afar.
You shouldn't have to sleeve your cards at Magic tournaments. It goes on the stack and it's...
Fizzles, absolutely. Fizzles. I think you need to sleeve your cards at Magic tournaments. It's so, the wear that Magic cards go through is impressive when they're unsleeved, and that can create markings that are very identifiable. We have seen sleeves marked, but it's very identifiable when they are, because they are uniform mostly all, and we saw, that was a tragic thing. We've seen cards marked before, the sleeves marked before, but it was caught very easily, as opposed to, wear and tear on the back of a Magic card that can be done in a particular way.
Thank you so much, Headology, for playing on the Stack Magic Edition. This was our first episode, so I'm so happy that I got to have you as a guest.
I am so happy to have been chosen. It's so awesome to see you, and I hope this is a fantastic show, so I hope you crush it every time.
Yes. You should let people know where they can find you as a fellow content creator. Where can you be found?
Well, I am almost always streaming on Twitch. I try to stream most days. If I'm teaching, obviously I can't necessarily. I'm also an idiot on Twitter and Insta and Facebook. So find me there and make fun of me.
We'll see you next time on Magic Stack. Don't forget, you aren't losing if you're learning.